It's okay. Off the mic. It's okay. Off the mic.
Chai! Now wow, people wey suppose talk truth to power don off mic. And if we talk, now 500,000 they go sama us, call them hate speech. But fear not, Maiyegun don come. Him go torchlight every corner, nooks and cranny of all these bad people where they spoil our country. So my people make we laugh, yo yo. Maiyegun don come, oh yo yo. My people make we shout, oh yo yo. Maiyegun don come, oh yo yo. Maiyegun don come, man of the masses, oh yo yo. Maiyegun don come, oh yo yo. Maiyegun diary politico, oh yo yo. Maiyegun don come, oh yo yo. This one not the off in mind, oh yo yo. Maiyegun don come, oh yo yo.
Recruit 50 million youths into the army and take away from their recruitment source. What they will eat? Cassava, àgbàdo, corn, and the morning, yam in the afternoon. It's growing here. You create demand and consumption.
On October 11, 1990, federal agents from the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration knocked on the front door of 460 Taft Place in the city of Gary, Indiana. Once a booming steel town with a population approaching 180,000 in 1960, Gary was one of a number of cities and towns across the U.S. suffering from severe population loss, among other adverse effects of overseas competition on their mainstay industries. From having over 30,000 employees at its peak in 1970, the city's main employer, U.S. Steel Gary Works, retained just 6,000 employees in 1990. Under these circumstances, this city and its 77% African-American population were witnessing explosive growth in one of the only industries guaranteed to boom under such difficult circumstances. 42-year-old Lee Andrew Edwards was one of the entrepreneurs who had found a place in the heroin trafficking business, and by all accounts, he had done very well for himself. With the proceeds from his illegal business, he had bought 2 residential homes, including 460 Taft Place, an apartment building, a liquor store, and a new car, all paid for with cash. Now, according to court records from the United States Court of Appeals 7th Circuit, the DEA agents arrived at the property to execute a search warrant after a 7-month FBI investigation involving Edwards' brother, Jimmy, had implicated him as the narcotics kingpin of Gary. Edwards did not open the door for the agents, who were forced to break into the house. He then fired 3 gunshots at them, after which he surrendered. DEA agents found weapons including a carbine rifle, thousands of dollars in cash, drug prepping equipment including a triple beam scale, and several grams of cocaine and heroin powder in the house. He was later sentenced to life in prison, but not before something about his business operation came to the fore. Federal investigators had determined that Edwards' heroin supply came from a Nigerian drug dealer in Chicago called Abiodun Agbele. Abiodun had earlier agreed to work for the feds in exchange for lighter sentencing, and as part of the plea deal, he revealed everything he knew about the heroin trade in Chicago. Located at the junction of 4 states with a combined population exceeding 27 million at the time, Chicago was a key trafficking hub in the American heroin trade, and as it turned out, the wholesale trade of an especially potent form of heroin from Southeast Asia in 1990 Chicago was controlled by Nigerian criminal gangs. The following excerpt is taken from the January 2001 Illinois Drug Threat Assessment published by the U.S. Justice Department's National Drug Intelligence Center. Nigerian criminal groups are responsible for wholesale distribution of most of the SEA heroin shipped into Chicago. SEA heroin, which is 80 to 90% pure, is being sold by Nigerian traffickers for $80,000 to $110,000 per kilogram. Wholesalers in Chicago usually sell heroin without cutting it to minimize the handling of the product and their exposure to law enforcement. Now, Agbele himself was no criminal mastermind, however. As he testified under oath, that honor belonged to a man who went by the name of Adegboyega Moise Akonde, who was apparently his uncle. Shortly after Agbele's arrival in the US, Akonde had taken him under his wing and showed him the ropes of wholesale heroin trafficking. When Akonde returned to Nigeria in mid-1990, Agbele was left in charge of selling regular heroin shipments from Nigeria to Lee Edwards and delivering the profits to his uncle. In the meantime, the Nigerian-led heroin trade in Chicago fed an addiction epidemic that became so bad that it changed local health and law enforcement practices. For the first time, providing addicts with free access to safe syringes and needles to ensure that they did not share them and possibly spread HIV became a core focus of public health policy. In other words, SEA heroin from Nigeria was so potent and addictive that public health policy in Chicago shifted away from trying to make heroin addicts stop using altogether to merely ensuring that they used safely. A notable organization that did such outreach work with heroin addicts was the Chicago Recovery Alliance. While researching this story, I reached out to its current executive director, John Werning, to get a sense of how the heroin epidemic changed law enforcement practices from the 1990s to date in Chicago. And his comments were very predictably grim. He said, "Heroin, of course, has consequences, but I think we'll probably say that the more major impact is the draconian laws around how heroin was policed. I think that it's pretty well established that there was a very specific targeting of folks who use drugs generally, but also heroin in particular, and it was mostly targeted toward the policing of Black and brown communities. That's not specific to Chicago. I think that's across the nation. But just in general, I think there was a lack of compassion by government entities to give people access to the treatment that they need, or nonviolent drug possession and mandatory minimum sentencing. I mean, there's a ton of different aspects of this that absolutely eviscerated populations, particularly marginalized populations in Chicago. And that's probably the advocate's view on this. Now, whether or not that can be translated into a comment about the international drug trade and specifically from, you said, Nigeria, I just don't know. But that's definitely more like domestic politics.
Sorry about that, everybody. I'm so sorry. I just got carried away there. I forgot that the audio is the microphone is muted. Very, very sorry. I'll retake what I said, just for the sake of those who have who probably didn't hear me. For all of you who didn't hear what I said, okay. Well, first thing first. Good morning to you. Good afternoon to you, and good evening to you from wherever you are. You are you are watching from. I understand. Don't worry. I remember everything I said. I'll repeat them. So what I was saying then was that I've been away for 2 days. 2 days. Because Ojojo was doing Ogun and Ogun's body no strong. Therefore, Ogun finally had to use ibuprofen, cocodamol, paracetamol, and a lot of rest. Somehow, I am back. But while I was away, I was reading, these days, right? Everything is on the internet, okay? Everything is there. And I was just trying to figure out, like, okay, these Nigerians, these hypocrites, they tend to always throw God into every conversation. Every small thing, God. God, all that stuff. Then they fight for God.
and leave their own fight for God. That's God should fight for them. But in the process, right, they dissipate so much energy. Nigerians, they dissipate so much energy defending criminals, drug dealers, drug lords, money launderers, killers, murderers, kidnappers, manipulators, certificate forgers, name it. These religious, righteous Nigerians, they defend these criminals. So when I was away, right, I was trying to figure out, like, okay, maybe there's something I'm missing. Maybe I'm actually the one who is not following, okay? Maybe religiously, these hypocrite Nigerians, maybe there is actually a religious doctrine that compel them, right or wrong, to defend their roguish leaders. Omo, I can't realize, say, for Quran, in Islam, it is haram to defend drug dealers. It is haram to even deal in drugs. Do you understand? Which means anything that is associated with drug money, anything. As a true Muslim, you should never be found, right, associating with them, talk less of defending them. But now, Olori Bruku plenty among many of you Nigerians. Olori Bruku, Tonko Shiba, Olori Re. And that is why I look at the country. So I realize that una no be religious, una be fake. Defending drug dealers. So I found out in 2 days. I also read there was nowhere there in the Bible anyway that you should defend criminals. It is called Haram. Now, I would continue to play this, okay? Because this is from a one known drug dealer, accountant to the drug dealers, who is also going to be your president. I'll come back to that.
All this is going on, there's an support taking place in the background. An accountant living in the Chicago area who worked for Mobile Oil Nigeria with a declared monthly income of $2,400 had just deposited over $1.4 million in the bank. He had no known source of income apart from his day job, but he had become friends with Akonde and Agbede, discovering one key piece of information in the process: drug dealers need accountants too. Soon, he will find himself holding and wiring money on behalf of a Nigerian heroin gang in Chicago. Fast forward a little bit to January 1992, and he will find himself the subject of a US federal investigation. Fast forward a bit further in the same year, and he would successfully run for office in Nigeria as a senator for Lagos West. Then another politician, also said to have ties to international drug trafficking, would successfully run for president in Nigeria on a controversial all-Muslim ticket in 1993. The election will be annulled, the politician will be jailed, and ultimately another Nigerian military coup will take place in 1994. This accountant will find himself exiled and working with the National Democratic Coalition, NADECO, to unseat a kleptocrat military dictator. Then the dictator would unexpectedly drop dead one day in 1998, followed in quick succession by the jailed politician with the alleged drug links. This accountant would return to Nigeria a hero and successfully run for governor of Lagos in 1999. The kleptocrat dictator's erstwhile bagman, who helped launder over $4 billion, would become the accountant's new best friend. As an erstwhile Chicago drug gang's loader, would start his new lifetime mission of capturing Africa's largest subnational economy and turning it into his personal fiefdom. A major political opponent of the accountant would end up strangled to death in his bedroom 10 months to an election which his chosen candidate would go on to win. Said opponent's son would subsequently be offered a cushy job working for that candidate. He would accept the offer. And if you're already struggling to follow this unlikely sequence of events, don't worry, it gets worse. A US district court would seem like an odd place to begin this story, but this is no ordinary story. The main character in this story is an individual whose entire existence is as puzzlingly mysterious as it is loud and public. For at least 30 years, Bola Ahmed Tinubu has been at or near the grinding phase of frontline politics in Nigeria. Yet the peak 1 inch below the surface reveals just how little is actually known about this man, who some say is Nigeria's president in waiting. First of all, there is the age controversy. How old is the man really? What is his real date of birth? Short answer, no one actually knows. Like many Nigerians born into the less than auspicious circumstances that characterized his childhood in Iragbiji in Osun State, southwestern Nigeria, he himself doesn't know. Similar controversy exists around what his actual name is. A popular theory is that Bola Ahmed Tinubu is an identity that he transitioned into at some point after moving to Lagos to live with his surrogate mother, Alaja Abiyachu Mogaji. The only thing every version of his life story has in common is that for the first 2 decades or so, he was apparently invisible and unmemorable. There are no childhood friends, there are no classmates, there are no neighbors, there are no colleagues that remember him. Sometime in the mid-1970s, however, he somehow materialized at the international airport in Lagos, holding a passport with a US visa and a one-way ticket to Chicago in hand. From his arrival in Chicago in 1975, his story then becomes easier to track and verify. So what do we know about this guy? We know that he spent 2 years gaining an associate degree at Richard J. Daley College in Chicago. From there, he proceeded on to Chicago State University, where he studied accounting, completing his bachelor's degree in 1979. Subsequently, his story appeared straightforward and prosaic. He got a job as an accountant at Mobil Oil Nigeria Limited in Fairfax, Virginia, got married to Oluremi, went on to have 3 kids with her, after 3 fruitful indiscretions, shall we say. In a 2016 interview with The News, Tinubu claimed that his break into the financial big time came at the Big Four consultancy firm Deloitte, where he supposedly received an $850,000 bonus as a result of his work on a single on-site engagement at the Saudi state-owned oil firm Saudi Aramco. Now, for anyone with even a passing knowledge of corporate consultancy pay, the categorical dishonesty in this claim needs no explanation. For everyone else, here is a current breakdown of the maximum possible amount that a partner, which is the highest attainable position, can realistically expect to earn at Deloitte USA. Bear in mind that the time period in question was sometime in the mid-1980s, so $850,000 adjusted for the roughly 2.74% annual inflation rate over the intervening 37 years comes to about $2.3 million in today's money. And even more incredibly, Tinubu claimed that he was awarded such a bonus and he was essentially less than 5 years into his career as an accountant, never mind making partner. Now, while the interview in question contains several other giant fibs, this particular one stands out because it is the first time in the Tinubu story where he himself acknowledges and tries to explain the fact that he once had a lot more money than a simple accountant working a 9-to-5 consultancy job could reasonably account for at that point in his career. I should keep that in mind because this becomes more important later on in the story. Now, in any case, one doesn't need an economic study or a Glassdoor salary survey to establish that Tinubu was blatantly lying about where the supposed $1.8 million sitting in his account came from. A document whose existence has long been teased and rumored, but never quite properly dissected in public domain, tells us all that we need to know. This document, which was obtained from the U.S. District Court of the Northern District of Illinois Eastern Division, contains damning information that Tinubu himself has spent past 30 years trying to suppress, undermine, and ignore. This document contains comprehensive case files of a federal case from July 1993, containing clear and incontrovertible evidence that Bola Ahmed Tinubu was once, in fact, a bagman, handling and laundering proceeds of heroin trafficking for a Nigerian drug ring in Chicago. Now, this is not the first time that the contents of this document have been reported, but other stories that have tried to report this story have typically not gone into the detail needed to drive home the point that the man who would be Nigeria's next president is, in fact, a drug criminal. Tinubu's vast army of the media shills and spokespeople have spun an endless web of narratives explaining why what is written in black and white is all some kind of mistake or mischaracterization or fake news. And one of the most common defenses is what you can see on your screen right now. Taking advantage of a Nigerian knowledge gap that typically misunderstands how US federal investigations work, this kind of narrative has been floating around the Nigerian media space ever since Tinubu became Lagos State Governor in 1999. Now, explaining the efficiency of indictments in the US, H. Michael Steinberg, founder of the Steinberg Colorado criminal defense law firm, says, "What are the chances for a not guilty verdict if a federally charged criminal defendant takes the case to trial? Statistically, not very good. Currently, federal prosecutors tout above a 95% conviction rate. This is primarily due to the fact that most cases never make it to trial. Most defendants end up taking a plea bargain rather than risk a potentially much greater prison sentence which could be dealt them if they actually went to trial and lost. Now, what this means in other words is that America's feds are very good at their jobs, and the likelihood of a defendant in a federal case not being convicted is roughly 5%. Basically, not very good chances. So, could Tinubu perhaps have been part of that 5%? And if not, then what happened exactly that prevented a conviction? Among the dozens of documents in the case files, there's a sworn statement by IRS Special Agent Kevin Moss, who personally investigated Bola Tinubu's financial activities in the lead-up to Lee Edwards' arrest. Here, we reunite with our old friends Abiodun Agbele and Adegboyega Moise Akonde as we pick our way through our hero's forbidden past. Now, in the interest of keeping this brief, here's a Cliff Notes version. The U.S. Attorney for the Northern District of Illinois, Michael Shepard, files a complaint for forfeiture of funds in bank accounts held by Tinubu as they hold proceeds of a heroin distribution organization headed by Adegboyega Moise Akonde. Tinubu's funds represent, and I quote, the proceeds of this operation or property involved in money laundering and the proceeds of narcotics trafficking. Shepard requests that the court adjudge and decree that the funds should be forfeited to the United States. Special Agent Moss has analyzed financial documents including bank statements, money orders, cashier's checks, tax returns, and, I quote, wire transfers of huge amounts of cash generated by individuals who are believed to be members of this heroin distribution organization. And he reaches a professional conclusion that the accounts controlled by Tinubu, and I quote, were involved in financial transactions representing proceeds of drug trafficking. The investigation, which began in 1988, has identified Adegboyega Moise Akonde and his nephew Abiodun Agbele as key figures in the trade and distribution of heroin. The investigation identifies the third individual working with the duo to launder their money as a certain Bola Tinubu. In December 1989, Akonde takes Tinubu to a First Heritage Bank to open an individual money account. On the application, Tinubu gives his address as 7504 South Stewart Avenue, Chicago, which is the same address that Akonde uses as his heroin trap house. Special Agent Moss discovers that Mrs. Oluremi Tinubu has previously opened a joint account at the same bank with Audrey Akonde, wife of Adegboyega Moise Akonde. On January 4, 1990, just 5 days after opening the account, Tinubu deposits $80,000 into it. On a subsequent credit application dated January 6, 1990, Tinubu states that he is an employee of Mobil Oil Nigeria Limited with a total monthly salary of $2,400 and no other sources of income. He gives his address as 7504 South Stewart and lists Akonde as his cousin. Despite earning just $2,400 a month with no other known source of income, bank records from First Heritage Bank show that over the course of 1990 alone, Bola Tinubu goes on to deposit $661,000 into his individual money market account, followed by a further $1,216,500 in 1991. And if you're paying attention, that is roughly equal to the $1.8 million he would later claim he made from Deloitte bonuses and salary deposits. When Special Agent Moss interviews Mobil Oil reps about Tinubu's employment, they confirm that Tinubu works at Mobil Oil Nigeria as a treasurer in a capacity that does not involve transfer or custody of large amounts of money. Moss also discovers that Tinubu has failed to file U.S. income tax returns since 1984. On January 10, 1992, a court order is obtained to freeze some of Tinubu's bank accounts containing the suspected proceeds of heroin trafficking in excess of $1.4 million. On January 13, 1992, during a telephone conversation from Nigeria with Special Agent Moss, Tinubu admits to the agent that he knows Akonde and that he had previously wire transferred $100,000 to Akonde's account in Houston. Further, Tinubu says that the $80,000 he deposited into the First Heritage Bank came from Akonde. Tinubu also reveals that he had additional bank accounts in Fairfax, Virginia and London, UK. Speaking over the telephone with Special Agent Moss on January 14, 1992, Tinubu admits that he knows Agbele and that he met him through Akonde. Tinubu admits that he has associated with Agbele and Akonde in the US and in Nigeria. In this conversation, Tinubu denies having any additional bank accounts in the US. On January 24, 1992, following a seizure warrant to freeze over $500,000 of unexplained funds in Tinubu's Citibank account, Citibank discovers 2 additional bank accounts controlled by Tinubu under the name of Compass Finance and Investment Company Limited. Citibank's account opening KYC records bring up a memorandum of association and articles of organization identifying and Agbele as directors of Compass Finance and Investment Company Limited. Between January 30 and January 31, 1992, Tinubu suddenly does an about-face and tells US agents that he has never had any business association or financial relationship with Agbele or Akonde. This statement directly contradicts his earlier statements and the documentation from Citibank and First Heritage Bank. Special Agent Moss concludes in his submission that based upon this evidence, there is probable cause to believe that a number of Tinubu's accounts are involved in narcotics transactions. The court agrees and orders the forfeiture on August 18, 1993. Tinubu opts to fight the case, claiming that the money is legitimate and it belongs to one Kafaru Tinubu and his surrogate mother, Alaja Habibat Mogaji. Ultimately, he enters into a settlement with the US government on September 15, 1993, agreeing to forfeit $460,000 of the heroin trafficking proceeds to the US government. The balance of roughly $1 million is released to him. Now, why did the US authorities adopt this approach instead of going the whole hog and insisting on litigation so as to obtain the full amount? The US Justice Department's guidelines for asset settlements to cases provides the answer to this in plain English. Settlements to forfeit property are encouraged to conserve the resources of both the United States and claimants in situations where justice will be served. In any case, the ascent of General Abacha and his rabid anti-American posturing very quickly led to a shift in US government priorities. Anyone who was on board with Nadeco and promoting democracy in the face of Abacha's fascism suddenly became an ally, even if just a few years before they had contributed to a heroin epidemic on the streets of Chicago. As anyone with some knowledge of the CIA-Contra crack cocaine affair would know, even Uncle Sam can turn a blind eye to drug dealers when they are working in his interests. Also remember, it was the 1990s. The 90s were a crazy time. At the time when Tinubu informed the US authorities that he was a lowly treasurer at Mobile, Nigeria on $2,400 a month, after having apparently been the world's most generously rewarded junior Deloitte accountant, he was doing some decidedly non-lowly things in the background. Now, while working on this story, a bit of research across US land registries threw up a few pearlers like this one from the Land Records Department at Prince George's County in Maryland. Now, on January 20, 1992, barely 10 days after IRS Special Agent Moss made first contact with Tinubu via telephone, Tinubu purchased a 4-bedroom, 3,016 square foot home at 10111 Limestone Court, Potomac, Maryland, for the miserly sum of $450,000, which he paid in full and upfront, by the way, no mortgage. Now, for reference, this is what this property looks like. This was about 10 days before he did his about-face to Agent Moss, denying having had any financial relationship with his heroin trafficking buddies, Agbele and Akonde. Now, the obvious question raised here is one about timing. Was Tinubu attempting to hide money from US authorities by parking it in real estate once he realized that they were onto him? Where did the funds to carry out this transaction even come from at a time when his accounts were being frozen right, left, and center? Now, more real estate record searches raise even more questions about several other parts of the known Tinubu story, including his self-characterization as a bedraggled hero of the democratic struggle and the Nadeco movement under General Sani Abacha. Now, in the interview mentioned earlier, he claimed that following Abacha's coup and his eventual exit from Nigeria, that he was forced to live almost like a pauper after the Nigerian government stripped him of all that he had. Describing his weary but triumphant return home from exile, he said, "I came home with 3 pairs of trousers and 3 jackets. Meanwhile, I had no Victoria Island home to return to. It had been taken over by Abacha. They dispossessed me of the house as well as my office on Saka Tinubu Street, my vehicles and everything else I owned. They claimed they found bombs in it and dispossessed me of it. I was totally cleaned out. I had only 5 shirts, the £2,000 and the jackets. And yet, the Prince George's County Land Records Department would beg to differ, because here was our tragic impoverished struggle, casually dropping the minor sum of $147,000 in 1995 for a 3-bedroom, 1,668 square foot home at 12625 Hillmate Station Drive, Prince George's County, Maryland. He would go on to charge a tidy $13,000 in profit when he sold it on just 3 years later. He was at it again in 1997, putting down the modest sum of $491,465 on a 4,558 square foot property at 1708 Parkside Drive, Mitchellville, Maryland. Again, all cash, no mortgage. He will go on to sell this property in December 2018 for $700,000. What is more, these weird transactions did not end in 1999 or stop with our hero and his wife. Even their 2 youngest children, Habibat Oyindamola Tinubu and Zainab Abisola Tinubu, got in on the act fairly recently. Aged 32 and 30 respectively, 2 of the 3 youngest members of Bola Tinubu's family have managed to escape scrutiny, mostly because the Freedom of Information Act in Nigeria is still much more aspiration than fact. Not so in America, where a plethora of services can pull up all kinds of records, including birthdays, criminal convictions, and real estate transactions. Especially real estate transactions. Such as the ones where a 25-year-old with no known employment or source of income was able to pay $2,150,000 in 2014 for a deluxe condo at 55 Berry Street, Brooklyn, New York. Full and upfront cash payment again, no mortgage. Or real estate transactions where the 25-year-old's 22-year-old sister, who was fresh out of music school with no known source of income, was able to pay $2,400,000 in cash to buy a deluxe apartment at 255 Hudson Street, New York, using the 1-inch thick fig leaf that was a company that she herself owned. It appears that Bola Tinubu's good fortune could be genetically transmitted. I mean, what are the odds that the only junior accountant in the world to earn an $850,000 bonus on a single engagement will turn out to have children who can buy luxury real estate in New York for millions of dollars while being unemployed with no known source of income? Not great chances, but here we are. Now, in the course of researching the story, a name that...
Thank you very much, David. See, if you want to see the full clip, I know so many of you are enjoying it. I may play it before we go to this morning or this afternoon, okay? But you can go on to David Undenyi. Go to the Newsweek. Africa, let me see the name again. Africa News. Wait, give me a sec. Now, it's called the West Africa Weekly. Yeah, West Africa Weekly. Go on to YouTube and you will see the premiere there. It is just about 30 minutes, I think. A part of a report that has been in the public for months now. And I've told people, I said, listen, even if Tinubu become your president, you see this tag of heroin dealing, drug smuggling, and everywhere that that is live, they are not going to go away. Even when Tinubu dies, when people are saying things about him, they will always remember he is a what? He is a thief, he is a drug dealer, he is a drug dealer's accountant, heroin dealer's accountant, and whatever you want to say, it's not going to go away. Well, I have something for you. That is why I tagged this broadcast. Like, do you as a Christian or as a Muslim agree that it is right to defend drug dealers, right? Or it is wrong to defend drug dealers? What does your religion say? What does your faith say about things like this? Of course, I don't expect you to be honest, okay? Because the typical thing, I was reading a comment earlier, right? And one weary jumped in, and you know what he said? He said, well, are you saint? That's the question. Are you a saint? Because it is Nigeria, you bunch of hypocrites, bare-faced hypocrites. Drug, they say no to drugs, right? And it also said somebody approached, let me tell you this, somebody approached a sheikh during one of the sermons, right? Like, and they said, Sheikh, we have a question. In fact, we have two questions. The first question is, as lawyers, you know, lawyers' job, the job of a lawyer is to defend their client, guilty or not guilty. You know, a lawyer will have to stand up and defend you, right? So they approached this sheikh and they said, Sheikh, lawyers who defend people in courts on different cases and all that, they defend murderers, they defend rapists, they defend armed robbers, they defend drug dealers, they defend, you know, all kind of people. But drug dealers in particular, when a lawyer who is a Muslim appears for a drug dealer, right, and somehow push the case, and the drug dealer, having, like, everybody knows that he's a drug dealer, right? Then this lawyer now defended the drug dealer, and the drug dealer won. Say, what does this mean in the presence of Allah? They asked the sheikh. You know what the sheikh said? Just so you know that I did my research. The sheikh said, number one, it is haram to defend those you know, as a Muslim, to defend those you know that they have committed this crime, but somehow they have managed to wriggle out of it. But you know that it is haram for you to defend them. That even if you defend, in the course of defending them, that you are defended because you have no idea that they are guilty as a Muslim, right? That the moment you discover that, he actually did it, that moment you have to withdraw from it completely. Now they said, but what if he's already defended the drug dealer and the drug dealer has won? What will happen? The sheikh said, because the lawyer has used his trick to save a drug dealer from justice, the right thing to do, number one, he should pay back every penny he collected for that job from that drug dealer. Pay back everything. Secondly, he must never get involved in any appeal against the drug dealer, the judgment they got for him. And thirdly, that lawyer must go back to that judge, that court, and confess to the justices that, listen, judge, my client is guilty. He's a drug dealer. I defended him based on the law and all that. But as it is a complete haram for me to even have defended him. Do you get that? I know that there is no religion in Nigeria. Majority of you, they pushy. And that is why you prefer to elect criminals. You know, empower rogues, criminals that will deal with your lives. Then you turn around and face God. God, come and help us. God, come and save us. And then he probably just look at you and laugh. Like, look at these stupid people. Look at these useless people. You deliberately, like, intentionally, you are promoting criminals. You are promoting murderers. You are promoting thieves. You are promoting looters that keep doing same thing again and again. And some of you are doing so in the name of religion. Are you following me? Using your time to defend the Olori Burukus, whose mission and existence in their life, all their lives, was to hurt you, harm you, directly or indirectly. And they continue to do it and get away with it. So, if you then want God to do something, are you with me? If you want God to deal with somebody who is exposing these rogues, are you sure that you are not secretly mad? Because if you are normal, your religion that you're asking God to, your religion makes you think, see, in the next 1 week, Maiyegun, you will see, God will shock you. Oloribu, God shock me, ke. Abi, you are actually like massaging what will shock you to death. Okay, hang on. It is haram. Plain and simple. If you are a Muslim, when you see people who have been involved Where is the evidence? Abi were lele you evidence wolo tunwa. Even if they buff Tifnubu with heroin and cocoa, like they pour heroin on him, soaking, and they pour the powder cocoa on him, you will be asking for evidence, won't you? But in your heart of hearts, if you have to claim your religion, your useless religion that some of you are pushing about, your fake religion, fake God, fake faith, and every fake thing about you, that doesn't really gel. If you want to try and check them, be honest, you will agree this one is wrong. Normal, I shouldn't be seen defending criminals ordinarily, whether they are Yoruba, whether they are Hausa, whether they are Fulani, whether they are Igbo, whether they are Ijo, wherever they come from, or any part of Nigeria. Once I know what this guy stands for, which you know, you do. The problem is you prefer your thieves differently. That's the problem. You love your thieves, your criminals differently. I just want you to know that every time you call on God on behalf of these rogues, you are an hypocrite. I'm saying it to you, to your face, and I hope it meets you well. So what happened is this. David, help me round this up before myself round them up.
It kept coming up repeatedly as a comparison to Teflon Ashiwaju was a certain Moshood Kashimawo Olawale Abiola, MQ Abiola. And when the Daily Beast took a stab at this story a few years ago, it's tantalizing hint at an unimaginable parallel between 1993 and 2023. I reached out to everyone I could think of in some knowledge of the affair. Most declined to speak, citing some unspoken concerns. Only Professor Gary K. Bush, a notable African political risk analyst and one-time professor of African studies at the University of Hawaii, agreed to say his piece. His lengthy comments went as follows. The Nigerian military on the council were adamant that the Babangida government should not allow Abiola to run for office, and told President Babangida so during the aborted runoff primaries before the election. The basis for their concern about Abiola was the information and documentation being circulated in Washington, London, and Lagos of Abiola's alleged ties to the drugs business. The US in particular had expressed its strong opposition to IBB about the candidacy of Abiola as president, not because of his politics or allegations of corruption, but rather for the evidence they felt was correct about Abiola's alleged drugs connections. This issue was raised in the military council on 3 occasions, and Babangida was warned. He refused to take a decision until it was almost too late. US Ambassador Lannon Walker and the British consul visited IBB and warned him about Abiola, but Babangida differed, which made the impact worse as the polling had begun. When he finally decided to intervene and stop the election, he precipitated the crisis of June 12. His friends in the military supported him but felt let down by IBB's lack of decisiveness. While there was consternation in Nigeria about the ouster of Abiola, the major international partners of Nigeria were not upset or concerned because they knew what the reasons were for the development. So was the 1993 election annulled because of MK Abiola's alleged drug ties? Well, definitely not. Not only does he have very real and proven ties to the drug trade, in addition to explicitly positioning himself as the assumed successor to MKO as the political leader of Nigeria's Yoruba ethnic group, but he has also picked a fellow Muslim as a running mate ahead of next year's election. The only other electoral frontrunner in Nigeria's history to do that was, no prizes for guessing, that guy. Still, if anyone can manage to avoid having this particular bolt of lightning strike twice, it could well be Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the luckiest politician in Africa. I mean, when he needed money to launch a political career in the 90s, he apparently had $1.8 million saved up from bonuses and salary payments as a junior accountant at Deloitte, which obviously was very handy. When his chosen successor as Lagos State Governor faced a near certain electoral defeat in 2007, the more popular frontrunner coincidentally turned dead inside his bedroom in Dolphin Estate, Ikoyi, one of the safest neighborhoods in Nigeria. He had been strangled to death. Naturally, the chosen successor then won the election, which was a happy coincidence. When he backed a candidate against the incumbent president in 2015, his good friend Gilbert Chaguri, the former kleptomaniac dictator's bagman, happened to have an excellent relationship with US Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. And she just happened to ignore recommendations from the State Department and US intelligence services to proscribe Boko Haram as a foreign terrorist organization, which effectively allowed it to gain critical mass and make the then government of the day even more popular. Naturally, his candidate duly won the election. Very lucky guy. When a former business partner, Dapo Akpara, took him to court over financial impropriety and money laundering at Alpha Beta Consultants, which is basically his little straw into the Lagos State government's treasury, the court became the first court in the history of Lagos State to burn to ashes and have all its files destroyed. The case was never refiled and it's currently being settled out of court, which is, of course, absolutely coincidental and very regrettable. The 1990s were a crazy time, and the 2020s are even crazier.
Thank you, David. God bless you, David Undein. Like I said, go on there and read more. Where is it stated? I don't know this one because I tried to check that out, but I didn't see as well that it is ideal. It is godly to defend a Boko Haram sympathizer, a Boko Haram sponsor. The people who have murdered innocent people are queuing, right? To what? To be rewarded even more. Now, this is not even about whether you do it or not. I don't really care anymore, right? What happened is the consequences of this, even to you, as shrewd as your, let me say, as dark as some of your acts are, Nigerians. There will be some tiny light place. There should be, except if the whole place is so dark completely. No empathy, no nothing, no. Bloodthirsty criminals, bold-faced crooks who have managed to evade justice for so long because it's Nigeria. Nigeria is a place where criminals are rewarded. You know it. If anybody commits a crime, the right thing, right, is what? Is to get justice. Abi? Not reward them with something more, Abi? But in Nigeria, look at all of them. Look at all the characters. So ask yourselves, because me, I've been reading, I read about this, I read the Quran, I read the Bible, I read the summary, I read the questions, borders on all of this, and nowhere, no single place you were allowed as a religious person to defend any of these crooks, except, of course, you are mostly the same. You are the reflection of your leaders. Yes, you are. To you, enemies want to, which enemy is coming for who? Are you that blind to look around you and see who the enemy, the real enemy is, or the real enemies are? Your real enemies are the criminals in Babariga. Your real enemies are the criminals in suits, in different kind of a porch exposure that you see out there, running the shittiest and the shittiest of the shittiest system in a country of over 200 million people. Those are your enemies. Now, morally, you should never, ever say you have a God or you have faith and you dedicate your time to defend these rogues. That's what I read. He said that those of you who claim to be, lawyers will see, lawyers will say, I'm doing my job. If lawyers who train to defend people, knows that there are limitations to what he could do if he wants to claim to be religious, or I don't want to be religious. Fine. Then you can do what you like. Sure, you get. Lawyers are told you cannot defend drug dealers. You can't even speak for them. It's haram. All of you. You see, religion says if you do good, you will go to heaven. Because everybody points here, because meanwhile, now here we go. If we do good or bad and we die, now this 6 feet they go put us. But people love to say, no, it's not there. Up. Baba God. If you do bad, you also go to what? Where? Is that one under or up? Anyway, religion says if you do good, and both religions says that. And he says, you should not support evil. You should not see evil and turn and defend it. If you do that, you are evil. Okay? There's no excuse. You are going to hellfire. You see, majority of you, you are candidate of hellfire. But you don't know it because you are not really religious in a hypocrisy. Your religion in Nigeria is to threaten yourselves. If you don't watch your mouth, Maiyegun, you will see that God will strike down your mouth now. Say, why? Why should God strike my mouth? Because I'm talking. Yes, watch your lofu. Hypocrisy, you don't really believe in any God. You don't believe in anything. Are you with me? You just, your religion in Nigeria is mostly to threaten people, threaten you so that they can do your bidding. Watch your mouth too. Be very, very careful. Don't let me place a curse on your generation. Baba gbe were sile curse on whose generation? The curse that the poverty curse that is on millions of Nigeria today. Now who placed the curse on them other than the politicians who have been the generational looters, the generational alaji, the generational deacon, the generational alajas, the generation this and that, who have used religion to dip you in poverty. So don't let me, if I open Baba Koshidano, Psalm what? Psalm what and what? Because oniro, you are mostly liars. Your religion, your this, your that, is to threaten people who are ignorant. You better don't let me call the Rawaniya for you. If I go to this, I will not see summer. I will not see sky for 7. Stop lying to yourselves. Now hypocrisy. You don't believe in any goddamn religion. It is all hypocrisy. Because if you believe in your religion, you watching me right now, you Olori Big Bailey Lagos Abobaku, you are abusing me. You are calling me name. You are doing that. Why are you abusing me? You are abusing me because of another thief. It's so unfortunate that the hellfire they've told you that you have read in your Quran and you have read in the Bible, you have read in many other religious journal. Now Nigeria be the headquarters. Some of you have known, some of you don't want to admit, some of you don't know. The hellfire, the devil that they said you should go and stone in Mecca, the devil that they said you should go and give up a court in Jerusalem. The one they said that you should roll like the stone in front of the grave of Jesus rolled. Oh yeah, roll away from your enemy. Olofoni, the wereys that are sending you there to go and roll. They are rolling your life upside down in Nigeria every year. I don't think there is any country in this world that prays as much as Nigerians. Then you should have asked yourself, how come your prayers are not answered? The prayer of terrible human beings, because you know they are terrible human beings. You know them. You prefer them to one another. I like Tinubu. It's because Tinubu made a lot of people. He made a lot of people to become somebody. Ashiri. Yet you cannot. Yet you cannot afford a drinkable water provided by these people who made people. Our leaders are see, if I have a way of saying it directly and then talking it into your brain, no, that's what I would do. Hypocrisy doesn't take anybody anywhere. Now lie. You love your oppressors differently, and they are the real devils. They are the devils. They are the devils that says you will not get light. No be devil, no be sin, no be because say you don't like your neighbor. No be because say they greet Mama Nkechi and it's a sin. No. The devils they told you to go to vigil for, holding your destiny, holding the destiny of your children, making anybody that is holding the destiny of my children, Jesus Lord, oh yeah, kill them. But you pray Jesus kill the people where they hold the destiny of your children. The following day, you are there with the Ankara, and then you are singing and dancing for the same oppressors. So that's the confusion. No? Are you with me? You can deliver your message without abusing people. Advice. Oh, title. Didn't you read the title of this broadcast? It is Sunday sermon. It is the moment I actually have to speak directly to the mofos who have continually to contribute to whatever we are witnessing in or experiencing in Nigeria today. And when you say, well, let's do it differently, they'll say, no. Do it. They will soon arrest you because they hate freedom. They love their oppression. In fact, they are waiting for their turn. Majority of them are waiting for their turn. Because Nigeria is what? Turn by turn, Nigeria Limited. You love your oppressors. Therefore, you find reasons to give excuses for them. And when you give excuses for them, they come back, right, to destroy you. It is not your sin. Oh. I have been saying it 1 million times. Oh. Shengbo, I have been saying it for 1 million times. Oh. No be your village people, they do you. No be your, what you call it? Your mama's junior wife, they do you. No. If you go out and you see a newspaper, before you open, and by the time you open from the front page to the back page, you will see more than 50 of your enemies talking about how they are making your lives better when you know they are not. Because primarily, you only jekuja for fungbemo alapama shishe ti fun Lawrence. Onibaras, pickpockets, all risers, crumb eaters, crumb chasers. You have defended drug dealers. You have defended certificate forgers. You have defended money launderers. You have defended kidnapping sponsors. You have defended terrorist sponsors. You have defended all kinds of criminals. And you now want, you've given them power. Only to turn around and start giving excuses for them. Because you know what? Majority of those who will become the victims of this you are doing, all this you are doing, your one Nigeria and the rest, yeah? The victims, most of them are not one kureo. A bit person where then kidnap, beat them, ask the family to pay. The family is not paying. Last, then stab them for chest, open the chest, come out in organ, show kure. Would you say such person kure? Or the people that were attacked along Lagos Ibadan Expressway 5 or 6 days ago, right? They opened fire on them, shot some of them. About 3 people died. That is the consequences of you defending drug dealers, defending genocidists, defending murderers, defending pickpockets, defending looters, defending career criminals as your leaders, because you don't really have any religion. Sorry, Oshisi, the members of the Temple of Truth, you know that when I use languages like this, I am talking directly to the wereys, the Mashamfanis, the suffering and smiling sufferheads, right? Those who are so happy in their chains and in their way of defending what is now befalling every one of us. Now, they are now calling God, that God will do this, God will do that for their evil men who has done so much evil. So when I speak like that, I am actually directing it to them. So when I say kure, just add it and say kure. But the point here is this: I am not a religious person. I admit I don't have any religion, right? But I respect all religion. I do. Because I think that actually gave me an idea, a sort of an insight into the hypocrisy of religion. And if you are looking for the religion hypocrites, Nigerians will take the first lead, and they don't even have a shame about it. Unfortunately, they always, right, fight for God. But when it is their turn, they wait for God to help them fight their crooked, their criminal leaders. Do you see that? Like, it doesn't matter how you pretend, using your own religious doctrine, share you deal with me. I read it, and I believe you should. This one is unforgivable sin. I saw it. I said, it's unforgivable. It's unforgivable that you know that Hopeless Uzodijo is a murderer. Hopeless Uzodijo is a kidnapper. You know it, that Sheyi Makinde in Oyo is a kidnapper. You know it that Sonwoiku in Lagos is a murderer. Tifnumbu is a murderer, right? These guys are killers. You know, Boko Haram is a genocidist. But you will defend them, won't you? You know, Atifku is also a jihadist, a terrorist sympathizer, and a Fulani terrorist apologist. But you will defend them, won't you? These are things they've done that have affected you directly or indirectly, right? Now, defending them because you feel like, and at the same time claiming you know God. Oma Josin on you, like you know, I want to know bitumen, loma fida. You know, say bitumen. Bitumen get, no, sorry, which are they talk? Crude oil, loma fida, no, crude oil, bitumen get. Crude oil, loma fida, no, ileru, tema juno kusi. Kusi up for you until you start telling yourselves the truth. Like, it doesn't make any sense. So it's better I just keep my mouth shut. Normal, my religion is kind of against this. If not for politics, why should I be defending a drug dealer? Why should I be defending a drug baron? Whether it's in the past or in present, it doesn't really matter. This doesn't all go well because it is not in the past. It is still happening. It is still happening. 194 billion naira. 194 billion naira drug was discovered in Ikorodu. No gunshot. It was just there waiting for them to come and get it. Nothing, no fight back, no nothing. Really? Then 3 days after that, Amoda Onikoko visited Marua. They had a closed door meeting. And then 2 days after that, Marua said they are destroying evidence. So 194 billion cocoa. We don't know the owners. We don't know how they got into Nigeria. We don't know the Ababa Saleh. We don't. Sure, we don't. Of course, we do. We do. Anyway, some of you are in your 30s. I don't want to say much about your parents, okay? Because your own parents actually were as useless as you get that, in their 30s, that they didn't care about you. Now you are in your 30s, right? Would you mind your own children in 30 years' time to be going through something worse than what you are witnessing today if you get sense? But nobody say, not to get sense, as long as you are Nigerian, okay? Not that you two get any. But we need to remind you that even from what you said you believe in, right? If you look deeper, you realize that heaven no sure for you, except if you don't forget Tamo. Because you know what I mean? Everything you have said out here to defend the drug dealers and the killers and the looters in your own small capacity or bigger capacity, let me tell you. Now, before my very eyes like this, I realized that when I came back, when I told you, I said Nigeria is a crime scene. I've said this years ago, and I've never stopped saying it because before I saw what I witnessed, even before I left Nigeria, drug dealer. You all know Buruji Kashamu now. Don't you know Buruji Kashamu? She, you know Buruji Kashamu. She Buruji Kashamu no become senator. Are people not tearing people apart, killing themselves because of Buruji in Ogun State? A known drug baron. They know him. When he was alive, when he was alive, educated people, supposed educated people, alajas, dicknesses, brothers, sisters, here and there, they would defend him. It is Nigeria. Are you a saint? If you know me, say I do any drug anywhere, you better release them now, so that anytime where I say I won't become your president, you can show the whole world and become David Undenye too. Sure you get. But it is a crime scene. Buruji Kashamu was giving people, he was giving people used tokumboka. I'll tell you, when Buruji made his own money from drugs, he decided to make he was declared wanted. You know what he did? He has so much money. He joined the government of Benin Republic for Cotonou, right? They gave him citizenship, right? He gave them money. And at the same time, he became part of the government in Benin Republic at the time. I think it was it Gbagbo or I don't know. You remember? You won't believe it, oh. It was the president of Benin Republic that introduced Buruji Kashamu to Obasanjo in 2002. Eshojinodu. He was a god there in Benin. Like, he was there, you know. So he had this car mat in Benin Republic. You saw these cars from Europe everywhere. Drug money, mad money. You know, don't you get it? Thousands and thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of cars. So it was easier. They were just driving them into Idiroko, Semeboda. Just driving them in. And they were giving the cars, Opel Astra, Opel Ludu, Opel this, Opel that. They were giving them to people who knows that they are proceeds of drugs. Just like this guy, Shina Mexico. Waiting be that guy named Pablo Escobar. How many of you know that Pablo Escobar actually contested to become a member of a member of the National Assembly in his country, the drug dealer, and he won? That's exactly what Nigeria is. Some of you who have no shame, the world knows, and your children are growing up. You are lying to them. You are telling them things that are not in existence. You are telling them things that are never going to happen. You are telling them Nigeria is going to be great. But you continue to push drug dealers, criminals, right, to be in charge of your affair. And how? How much dishonesty can you actually live with as I'm talking to you right now? Buruji Kashamu was giving them money. And it wasn't just giving. You know the terrible thing, right? If you are doing drug business, you see those people that they send to carry drugs for them, okay? After promising them money and all that, they take them to shrines to go and swear oath that even if they are caught, they will never, ever, ever mention them. Do you get that? And even if they are not caught, they are not going to call them. That is, they are not going to run away with their drug. Give me 2 minutes. Let me take a short and quick break, okay? I'll continue with that story. Buruji Kashamu, drug dealers in Nigeria, and there are many. They are many. They are your reps. They are your governors. They are this or that, okay? I'm coming. Shele stupid. What do they call them? Lagos Abobakus.
My brother governors, there are many of you here. But let me say that I've always enjoyed the company of Southwest governors. You are all here, fully represented. I thank you all, from the LA of the LA of Ogun State.
Relics, all these fossil relics. So Buruji Kashamu in Ogun State for years, Obasanjo brought him back and he introduced him to Benga Bewiri Daniel. Benga Daniel and Buruji, from all the drug money that they have used to get enough vehicles from Benin Republic, they just started moving down for buses. I'm talking about thousands of buses. This is not just, and they started branding them Ogidi, Omo Elu Foundation, drug money, purely drug money. He's a businessman. He has hotel in Lagos. He has these. Those are the people defending him. There was even a guy. His name was Oni Yoko. I think his name is Justin or Joycein. I don't know. Oni Yoko. He was the prominent guy. Nothing where this guy, he be like, say, when they bomb Buruji like this, so they just bomb the guy. They grew together. And that is what Nigeria is. They will whitewash you. They will make you feel like you are so clean, as long as you can pay the price. And they will go to mosque every Friday to do Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar, Alhamdulillah, and they will go to church on Sunday and they will dance Ijokwe, Ijokwe, Yeah, you are watching me right now. I'm not telling you that I'm a saint, but I'm not a drug dealer. I'm not a money launderer. I'm not a killer. I'm not a genocidist. I'm not a kidnapper. I am not in any way related to the problems they have put and dipped many of you in Nigeria. I am a victim too. You should know that you are a victim, except if you are just an alibi. Somebody who is working with them. They defended it. It's a business. I say, Kori Busigbo. Koshi ori yin danu eyin olori buruku elebi. Now, at the end of the day, when Obasanjo have had enough, Obasanjo said they should go and deal with him. And he had to lock himself somewhere in the toilet. Yeah? So you know what they do? They take people to shrine. I was at Daburu Jikashamu's house in Ijebu Igbo. You know, I am also from Ijebu Igbo, the Baderos. Yeah? My father from Ijebu Igbo, so son of the soil. I was in the house. Níbi tí wọ́n ti ń gbé agẹmọ. Fake agẹmọ òrìṣà. Because they were paid. Because I'm an Ijebu man. Ijebu to the bone. And I am also ọmọ alágẹmọ mẹ́rìndínlógún. Did you get that? Which means I know more about the agẹmọ òrìṣà. You don't move them. No. You never move them. When they move, it's only once in a year. And that is when they leave the shrine, move them to Imodimoson. When we are doing our Odun Agemo. You don't move Agemo Orisha anyhow. But for Buruji, the drug dealer, his house, there were some charlatans, some criminals there. Some of you who are watching me from Ogun State, you know this story. Some of you have been there. Those of you who went there to collect money. Those of you who went there to collect Okada, collect cars. You know what I'm saying? They moved that Agemo Orisha. They said people should be cursing, and people were cursing their own children. That if they fail to follow Buruji Kashamu, they should end miserably. They should end unfortunately. They should die miserably. Their children should be unfortunate. I mean, because of 25,000 naira. I've seen things. And then they will come out in Agbada looking good, looking like responsible people. Come on. It makes your skin crawl. Then when you now see the wereys, the LABs, say, yeah, sure, it's because you don't like them. I don't even know why you hate this. I don't know why you hate that. See, whether I like your criminal leaders or I don't like them. Why is that a personal headache? Fún ìwọ tó ń wò mí. Tí ò bá ṣe pé wọ́n ti bà yí ẹ jẹ́, àbí wọ́n fúnra ẹ ti bà yí ara ẹ jẹ́. Seriously. Criminals. You give them this, then you look around and you expect them to do right. It doesn't work that way. And religiously, it is not right. It is haram. So what haven't we seen? Maurice Ibekwe. Sure, you remember Maurice Ibekwe? Chief Maurice Ibekwe. Maurice me Ibekwe. Me or not orin yẹn mọ́. Olórin yẹn. Somebody should remind me, Sha. Now you day singer. Maurice Ibekwe. Now 419 is the boss to Oplesus Odijo. Oplesus Odigba of Imo State. 419ers. I'm talking about fraudsters. You don't get it. Fraudsters. People who stole other people's artwork. Maurice Ibekwe became a House of Rep member. Obasanjo was surprised. Hey, how you take do him? Maybe this guy that talks they collect $242 million from a Brazilian bank when they sold the airports in Nigeria to them, right? Really? They carry him. You know if you use that, But Oples is Odingba. The trainee of Maurice Ibekwe is the governor of Imo State today. Repented, have you? The money when they crack brain to steal from people. Now you give them the key to the treasury. You can't pray to God. God, we need you to guide and then direct our governor to do the right thing. If I say I know what I'm saying. You may not understand me, you may not agree with me, but I know what I'm saying. You're praying for thieves to do the right thing. I mean, I've never seen people so confused in my life. Then you turn around and say, God, why? God, why not? That's what you be saying. Say, God, why? My friend, God, why not? Do you understand? And they are the rulers. They are the decision makers. And they are in every state, every town, local government, and everywhere you can find them. It is just they're like parasite. They are hitting you left, right, and center. You can't see it because you choose not to. Because you love those ones you love and you hate those ones you hate. But whether the ones you love and the ones you hate, they are actually esprit de corps, officers of the law, officers of the crime. So how dare you use the name of God to defend criminals? Eh? Ṣé tí ẹ fẹ́ ta ni? Dá mi lóhùn. Ṣé tí ẹ fẹ́ ta ni? You are defending Buhari, a killer, a coupist, a genocidist, a thief. Defending Tifnumbu, a murderer, a thief, a looter. Anyway, but the bottom line is this. You see everything I'm saying right now? I'm not saying them from the position of hate. I'm saying them from position of sincere care. You may not like it. I've told you that before. I mean, do you know that liking me is something I don't want to subscribe to? It gives me so much pressure. Like, oh, Maiyegun, I love you. Maiyegun, I love what you're doing. Oh, Maiyegun, so much, that gives me so much pressure. It's like responsibility. And it makes me feel like, oh, I don't want to offend people who like me. And unfortunately, offending people, I mean the right people, seems to be my own forte. So when you say, Maiyegun, I like you, I like what you are doing, I don't want you to talk like that. Ah, Baba, don't like me. Liking me is going to break your heart. You know why? I like Maiyegun. Oh, I respect Maiyegun. And I also respect our leaders. Even though Maiyegun is always criticized. Ah, Papa, what mix it up? Kò jọra wọn dá padà. Yomi kúrò náà want to like. I don't want to be responsible for your heart. I don't want you to turn around and say, ah, man, I used to respect this man. Ah, gbé mi, pátápátá kò lọ fẹ́ lómi. You cannot love God and then worship Mammon. Oh, lè sin Ọlọ́run pẹ̀lú Mammon bó ṣe sọ nìyẹn o. Oh, lè serve truth pẹ̀lú lies. Kò dẹ̀ rò pọ́n máa coexist. You cannot demand for respect. You cannot demand respect for criminals and think that is love. Please keep it. I don't believe. I mean, I love those who love me, okay? I mean, genuinely, I love everybody, even those of you who don't like me. I care. That's the point. I care. You don't like my language, but that language is towards those criminals that you defend. It's not towards you mostly, but now kind of towards you too. Yeah, you have to have a share. I don't want you to like me. I don't want you to love me. I don't want you to do all of that. I mean, you can. It has to be voluntary. Like, you have to give that freely. And you can take it back anytime too. Do you get that? So you can't love criminals and defend them, give excuses for them, and then turn around and be like, you are too rude. Ah, abufe bloni. No, oma bloni. Emi rude. Do you want to explain being rude? Being rude is to give no damn to the people who gave you everything. And all you could do is to be grateful and reciprocate. You know what you did for your leaders? You give them everything. Nigeria is a place where criminals like them could get away with anything. Yet, they could not reciprocate that good gesture that you gave to them. Oh, you made them governors. They live large. They live off you. You made them president. Their family lives off you. Their friends, their concubines, their girlfriends, boyfriends, everybody. They become suddenly rich. You become poorer because they haven't reciprocated that. Do you get that now? Like, you give them everything. Oh, we give them everything. We give them our sweat. We give them our blood. We fought this, we fought that. Blah, 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 blah. But what happened to you? What did you get? What did you get back? Scorn, poverty, anger, hunger, terrorism, crashed economy, trashy naira, corrupt security, and the rest of them. Abi, that's what you got back. That makes life so hard. It makes life so hard, tough, and makes you non-empathetic, which is sad. It breaks something in you. That's what Nigeria did. That's what these guys have done. They have broken many things in many of you. Enough that some of you are so scared to even admit. You need to. I mean, you need to. So somebody like myself doesn't come here. I'm not here because I want you to say, Maiyegun, I love your wisdom. Well, fine. If you may love my wisdom because I've said something that didn't affect those you probably respect. I don't have any respect for any of them. Your pastors, your imam, your babalawo, mamalawo, your everyone of I don't, because I see the roles they have played in subjugating you, in controlling you, and in placing you where they want you to be. And that's exactly where many of you are today. Do you get that? So therefore, I don't have any respect for them. So you might like my wisdom. I love how this guy talks. Oh, I like this guy. My brother, I like you too. And I mean it when I say I like you. But you see that one where you say you like me. There are many people who don't tell me, say they don't like me before. Some of them, we know they talk again. Some of them, they know they don't want to see me. You know why? Because I don't touch them where they hot. You know, when you wake up and you touch people somewhere, they feel like, why did you give me that? They say, I'm just trying to show you the truth, Nini. It hurts you. You may not like me again. So you hold me no like, no love, no nothing. But you hold me your attention. You will listen. You should listen. Because most of the things I will say, some of them you will connect to, some of them will touch you, some of them will make you act, some of them will make you think. And most importantly, everything I share on my platform and you listen to will never, ever leave you the same. You will have something. You're going to feel something kicking and say, Criminals deserve no respect. Criminals deserve no defense. What they deserve is justice. Now, after they must have, served the punishment for their crimes, right? Now have repented and turned new leaf, then you can then show them all manner of respect and every other thing you want to. That is how the world should work. You see? Go back and read your Bible. If you haven't. If you don't have a Bible, you have a phone, okay? Open that phone and start asking that phone some questions about some of the things you've been taught, right? Some of the things you've been, you've been told or taught, right? Which are not real. They are just meant to manipulate you, subjugate you, cower you, control you without you even knowing. So the moment you begin to think outside that box, you become a rebel. They say you are rebellious. Oh, it's becoming rebellious. And mostly, right, people will begin to tell you to watch your mouth. Be careful. It's not because they care. That's another thing. When people tell you, because you are speaking out against any of these rogues, right? It doesn't matter where they come from. You need to be sincere and honest in your assessment, okay? The roles they've played and how much of those have affected you, directly or indirectly, should determine what you say about this guy, about these rogues. Now, when you speak out, right? When you speak out, your mind, doesn't matter. Don't let anybody tell you that your language is too strong. All those people, nobody say they care for you. It's not because they love you. You know, I care for you. Watch your mouth. These people are dangerous. These people will do this or that. Of course, whether you talk or you no talk, right? They will still deal with you. Do you understand? Yes, they will still deal with you. But you see, those who are telling you to keep quiet, they are not saying so because they love you. They are saying so because the society has already configured them that way. You sounding not like them, they just have to quickly see how they can bring that down and tell you that, hey, just, they can kill you, or they will jail you, or they will, and all of that stuff. They are trying to let you stop. Because if more people are talking like Maiyegun, if more people are talking like you, the way you say it, if more people are acting the same way you are acting, everybody ni. You know, get? Nobody go listen to Tifnubu, listen to all these guys anymore. Everything they say will just be irritating you. They will be irritant in your ear. Be what they call irritating in your ear. Because you will see through them. You will see through the lie. And let me tell you this. There is no one who knows the truth, right? That will sit through a session of lies comfortably. That's the point. So you go die, I go die, everybody go die. Sure you get. Or say, if me die tomorrow, it's not going to add a penny to the bank account of some of you Lagos Abobakus Elebis, Onibaras, Alakpamashishe, pickpockets, Oda, Fualowo, Oda. If anything happened to my, it no go hard to yours. Do you know that? But do you know that if all of you reject these rogues, what they are taking from you can stop. What they have taken from you can be gotten back, right? And that can affect your lives individually. I know that's a tough call, isn't it? But we'll keep reminding you. So everybody go die. Those of us will no go, okay. People will go poor, go poor. People will go rich, go rich. People will go de middle. Okay? But when you begin to live in a world whereby the draft is actually about ensuring that millions of you, you're not going to de middle, you're not going to de top, and you're not going to de bottom. Sorry if you don't understand Yoruba. There is a way. I'll explain that in English, but now a very strong one. They say no peace for the wicked. When you make all these choices, top, they, middle, they, bottom, they, underground, they look for you. That they call them ile ogba, ona ogba, tinshe ewe aragba. You see, ile is house, ono is road, and you see this ewe aragba, house no container, road no container, which means nowhere is for him. And that's exactly what Nigeria did. The analogy of Nigeria. Ilé ògbà, ọ̀nà ògbà, tí ń ṣe ewé àràgbà, àti lọ àti bọ̀, tí jẹ́ kí àgọ̀ràn di òní ìsinmi. That's the consequences of all the choices you are making. Now you can change that. We can change that. Yes, we can. You know where I stand. I have been around for a while. Okay, I will be. That's what I'm saying now. Everybody is complaining today. Everybody is lamenting. You can tell. It's obvious, and it's going to get worse. That's the fear. Sure, that's the fear. Which means you know where I stand, right? Things can be done differently. I mean, people need to know that they deserve better. I keep saying that. You should first feel like you deserve better, okay? Before you can then say, oh, I must get better. I'll tell you a story. I've told you this story before. When I was in Nigeria, I got scammed. That place. You see, my experience sometimes is the reason why when I'm so blunt and so honest, so truthful with what I say without having to sugarcoat anything for you. I got duped because I wanted to do UI admission, to gain admission into University of Ibadan sandwich program somewhere in Ijebu and all that. I got duped. So I started a business. That business was called GNLD business. It was good. I recreated it. I added some, like packaging. I packaged it. It was good. I was making money. Then something happened. Ramadan came. People know they use supplements anymore. That they fast. Can you believe I see? Before you know it, I was like, Omo, I don't spend my money on before this money finish. I should do something with my life. So I sat on my balcony one night, no light, everywhere dark. Good enough. My house in Odogbolu, it's an upstairs, so I could see all over the town. I could see a lot of places just sitting on my balcony. Then I looked around. I was like, Then I said, I have met with people who are supposed to actually make life easier for people around there, but they don't have such plan. Odogbolu local government secretariat, you would think is an abandoned mechanic village. You know what I mean? Like an abandoned mechanic village. That's Odogbolu local government. So I thought about that. I was like, no, future me of St. Louis, baby. Koforola, my daughter, was inside sleeping, including Omogbolawan, my son. They were both sleeping in the house. I looked and I was like, no. My future is not here. And I was right. Honestly, looking back, it was the best decision of my life. Today, like I said, looking back, now there should be a moment. No, I'm not asking that all of us will have to leave Nigeria, because not be everybody will dreamer actually get more. Sure you get. But my whole story is that at a point in a man's life, right, you kind of have to unlearn things you have learned, right? Unbundle some of the lies you have been fed. Especially if you look at what your life is. What is the situation in the country? What is the situation about your life? What is the economic and all that thing? What are the opportunities that are like in your space? When you look around and you found none, at that point, everything else they have told you about Nigeria shouldn't make any sense to you. But some of you will resort into this useless fake prayer. I'm praying, I'm doing fasting and prayer, I'm doing this and that. I'm not saying your prayer is not good though, but you have used that to further isolate yourselves from the truth, because something keeps telling you, if you pray harder, your life will be better than the other one. Or if I do this more. But meanwhile, as you pray, the rogues, the criminals that are making your life a hell, they are there, not sleeping, planning. So what do you do? At a point in your life, you should be able to say, you know what? I'm done. I'm not going to be part of this anymore. Like, whatever it takes. And what does that mean? It simply means you can demand genuinely, right, for the peaceful breakup of Nigeria. Now, don't be calm down. Calm down. Why are you riled up? As in, Kilonshie, Farabale, make I explain to you. The reason why many of you are poor and millions of you are going to die poor, like wretched, not because I wish you to. The reason is this. It is intentional. It is deliberate. The resources that could give meaningful lives to every one of us, right, have been monopolized by these rogues that you are praying that God should help. It's been monopolized by them. Therefore, as the population grows, so is the opportunity of the country shrinks. More people want stuff that they will never get. And the criminals who made that happen, they are not tired, right? They are still there, plotting and planning, and you are there, promoting and defending them. So millions of you are going to die poor. You know, because so you are going to die wretchedly poor. How do you save that? The owners of Nigeria are keeping Nigeria because it is profitable for them, not to you. It's profitable to them. They are the ones who have billions and billions they've stolen, that they keep stealing. Do you get that? And because they could get away with it, it's because it's Nigeria. Now you can put an end to that. Stop the bleeding, redirect the whole thing, and cut these guys off, starting from you, knowing that you are a Christian, you are a Muslim. It is haram to defend them. It is haram to go and preach to other people, not to trust any truth said about them. It is haram. It is a sin. The day every part of Nigeria decides, right, to take back their lives from the businessmen in Nigeria, right, is the day prosperity, growth, safety, development, will now be things you mention when they mention your name. Go and think about that. Keeping Nigeria together as it is not in your interest. It has never been. It's been in the interest of these opportunists who have always been on the queue, turn by turn Nigeria Limited, remember? Now, the consequences of their turn by turn is that more and more of you are falling into poverty. Your education system are being destroyed. It's destroyed. Your healthcare system is already ruined and destroyed, right? Now your security is in the hands of terrorists and terrorist sympathizers. There you are. How could you then think of becoming the greatest country in 10 years when they are teaching you how to get used to being kidnapped or raped or killed? It doesn't make any sense. The guys who brought this are still promising you that, well, you need to pray to God to help us. So you are praying to God? Are you not mad? I think you are. No, I believe you are. But the day you chose that, listen, guys, let everybody go their separate ways. There is a process, okay? Even though we have some charlatans who are making threats here and there, ignore them. But there is a process. It starts from here. The day you make sense out of the sensible things I've told you, and it starts from one person to the next one, to the third one, to the fourth. A process that can indeed force the hands of the opportunist, starting from you withdrawing that useless support you are giving to them because they are Christian or they are Muslim, they are Yoruba or Igbo or Hausa or Fulani or wherever they are from. These guys don't even give a damn about all those things. They don't give a damn about religion. They don't give a damn about anything culture or tradition. They don't give a damn about ethnic or tribe. They just use them as their own bargaining chip. They use this as their meal ticket. Get here, princess. People don't get them. When people say I'm speaking for my people, in Nigeria project, now scam. If I come here and say I am speaking for the Yoruba people in Nigeria to make sure that the Yorubas are respect, she Maiyegun Madini. And Maiyegun Shemasoko speak for Yoruba people in Nigeria. Abi Maiyegun is just looking for his own meal tickets. I will fight for Yoruba in Abuja. I will give all my best to fight for you. Baba Shansile Jare Kokoshidano. Kagbara were sile talon deceive. Fight for who? Just Jafara. As it be, so may everybody fight for himself. No, sure you get. Nobody they fight for anybody. No, don't let anybody deceive you. We are fighting for you. I'm taking a bullet. See, nobody's taking any goddamn bullet for anybody. Now, meal ticket they are looking for. When I go to Abuja, I will speak for the Igbo people. The Igbo people in Baba. Meshonu. Shineke Pogi Oku. Abi Shineke Pog. No, Pogi. Mama to mix it up. Shineke now, you know. Talon Bobo. Go collect your meal ticket and go there and chop and come back and tell your people that Abuja is not easy after 2 years. Who no know? Don't let anybody deceive you. Don't deceive yourself. Because some of you always set yourselves up anyway. You set yourselves up to be deceived. To be manipulated. To be scammed. You are so vulnerable that some of the times they just tell you what you want to hear. Why you continue to suffer what you used to suffer, what you always suffer. So it starts from here. Yeah. Sure, you get me now. So the day you know that you deserve better lives, you deserve safe neighborhood, you deserve a prosperous economy, you deserve a responsive government, or you deserve responsible politicians holding public posts and responsible to you. The day you think of that, I mean, for real, if you dig well, or if you listen to Maiyegun, you will realize that you can never find that in Project Nigeria. Look at the Oceans, look at the criminals, old and young, parading themselves as your representatives. Are they representing you? For you? Like, are they? National Assembly of people who are less than 1,000 people, right? They are going to take care of them with over 300 billion naira. No be mental, be that. And the rest of you cannot even afford 2 or 3 square meal a day. Like, so you get me now? So don't let anybody deceive you, trying to talk you into, they just found this new vision, this new idea. Yeah, currently, we may not have this popular, let me say, we may not have this well-accepted sort of a message yet, but we're not going to give up. We're not going to give up. I mean, you would still have to do this. One day you're going to wake up and you're going to agree with me. You are going to ignore all of my tirades like that. Like, oh, he said the Lori Buku, he said Onikuri. You ignore that. And you begin to see and hear the message I have been giving you for the past 7 years. Uninterrupted, unabated, never changed. 7 solid years warning you about these guys. And I will do it till the day I am able to say freedom. See how it feels like. I want to see it, but it has to come from the people. Do you get that? It has to come from you. You need to understand why Nigeria is not working. Okay? You have a role you are playing why Nigeria is not working. But majorly, your ignorance is the reason why it is still existing as well. And you see these guys, whatever they do, is intentional. Do not let anybody tell you, God is telling me this, God told me that. It's all bobo. A bobo. Just to make sure that psychologically they place you where they want you to be. And it works all the time. Because many of you have already, like, you are so vulnerable, you are waiting to be set up and to be taught something. Don't tell me something. Why you going to tell me something? Why you going to tell us something? I've been telling you a lot, but maybe they are not what you want to hear. But there are those who will tell you what you want to hear that are not really beneficial to you. They condition you. They position you, they prepare you mentally, psychologically to incapacitate you of the ability to think outside the box. And it works well, not just on young people. It works well on everyone who listen to them until you begin to think outside and say, no, that doesn't make any sense. No, I don't like that. You know what I mean? And they will call you a rebel. But we need more rebellious people, educated, intelligent, and well-informed rebellious people. Do you get that? Because you see, if Bible says you shouldn't defend them, if Quran says you shouldn't defend them, which God are you calling to protect them then? Which God are you asking to fight for them? So it's a mix-up, and I hope today's sermon actually touches you. I've not done this in 2 days and I'm already sweating. Can you believe that? I don't know if I could open my eyes. I could open my stomach and show you. I'm sweating. Anyway, that's Sunday sermon for today. Now, waiting a minimum, a muto, which is the spirit of truthfulness, the spirit of honesty and spirit of sincerity and spirit of brotherhood. To you, my brethren, in the temple of truth, the message is out. I hope as you hear this today, you will digest them, think about them, and possibly do something. If you don't do anything, I'm going to see you next time again. That's what I tell people. I mean, you're going to be seeing me all the time. I'm going to be reminding you. I'm going to be asking you that nobody's going to fight for anybody's freedom, okay? Nobody's going to fight for anybody's, better lives right now. Because it doesn't really go around that way, except the people want that for themselves. Now, I'm not saying everybody wants it. Some people love being slaves. Some people love being beggars. Some people love being dependent. Like, go on to people and say, well, please help me. Please help me. They can't do things on their own. I understand. But when a barrage number of people, or let me say a big number of people, depends on, no, that's not good. You get what I mean? It's not. And that's why we have to make sure that even if now one person has saved a day, if now one person has saved per hour, Baba, me, I get more reward for that, even though I don't get religion. I know be Christian, I know be Muslim, I know be Babalawo or Mamalawo, anything at all. I be Maiyegun, the general overseer of the temple of truth. Being honest in the face of your religion, Christianity and then Islam, do you know, now VIP they go give me, enter Aljana. VIP. Now VIP they go give me, enter paradise. Because Angel Jubri, Abi Angel Gabriel. Which one they write our waiting we do again? Oh, that man. I was just about 11 or so when I stopped reading Quran, and then But I remember there's angel where they write waiting where they do. The angels would say, this Maiyegun no be sent to, but we award him sainthood. Saint Maiyegun General, VIP, upper echelon of the realm. You know why? Because I have been honest. Even though you might say I'm rude, you might say I have no respect. In the book of life, I am an honest person, sincere person. Who cares for those that the people I don't know or people I will never meet? I care because whatever happened to you, wherever you are, due to Nigeria, right? It's just whatever happens to you is just sending a warning to me to be ready. Sure, you know. And because of that, I keep warning, I keep advising, but it keeps being like I'm insulting you, I'm embarrassing you. You are not a Yoruba man. You are supposed to be Ori Brukuto Baenye. Emi lo 7 niyen o. 7 ba wa o. VIP. Now you go come see me because go fear now. I know this Maiyegun when he was alive now. He was abusing our pastor. He was abusing our leader. I was the one, a home training. I was trained well by my parents. I respected our thieves. Say, shut up your mouth and face that. You, now shop 21. Take this one to shop 21. That shop 21, now stupid people, they born there. Good luck, I'm not there. I'm saying this, it may sound funny. It's not funny. I'm using your religion now to say, how clean is your heart when you pick up your phone and you type all those defense to defend drug dealers, criminals, because they are politicians you want, or they are people your oppressors that you love. Where do you think you're going to end? I will just tell God and say, God, I think go that yard where airfire day, make you can me bring some Nigerians out. I just want to do some exercise and some koboko. Give me 2 koboko. We know they, like the fire, know they end. I want koboko. We know they tear. I can't come there because hey, Nigerians, hey, come here. They whip you morons, you idiots who think God is a magician. That after supporting criminals, defending them, rigging them in, right? Then God will now come and touch their hearts and they'll begin to treat you right. And you weary. Let's say jitemini yala you. To batu dale. This 20 bawa. Later. What I said is that I've delivered this part that the Holy Spirit, the truthfulness spirit, sincerity spirit in the temple of truth as the general overseer of the temple of truth today. Moti deliver she was or get change. Later. Good morning. I've been a good afternoon for you.
Maiyegun làwọn mọ̀ tó dòdòdò. Maiyegun Diary, Maiyegun number mọ̀ láwọn tó jódodo.
Maiyegun Diary náà ibi nọ́mbà 1.
Maiyegun ti dé o ọ̀rẹ́ ara ìlú.
Maiyegun Diary náà ibi nọ́mbà 1.
lórí Facebook lórí YouTube.
Maiyegun Diary náà ibi nọ́mbà 1.
gbogbo bó ṣe ń lọ ni Maiyegun já wa sí.
Maiyegun Diary náà ibi nọ́mbà 1.
àṣírí ọ̀jẹ̀lú kì í bò níbẹ̀ o.
Maiyegun Diary náà ibi nọ́mbà 1.
bó bá ṣe eré àní Maiyegun máa wí.
Maiyegun Diary náà ibi nọ́mbà 1.
ó sì tún ṣe eré wàá gbọ́ níbẹ̀ o.
Maiyegun Diary náà ibi nọ́mbà 1.
Maiyegun Diary Diary politico.
Maiyegun Diary náà ibi nọ́mbà 1.
Godfatherism kò sí lọ́rọ̀ Maiyegun.
Maiyegun Diary náà ibi nọ́mbà 1.
ẹ farabalẹ̀ sẹ́ o kẹgọ́rọ̀ lẹ́nu o.
Maiyegun Diary náà ibi nọ́mbà 1.
àní Maiyegun làwa mọ̀ tó dódòdó.
Maiyegun Diary náà ibi nọ́mbà 1.
àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Maiyegun ti dé. Maiyegun ti dé.
ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Maiyegun ti dé.
àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Maiyegun ti dé.
lórí Facebook.
Maiyegun ti dé.
àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Maiyegun ti dé.
lórí YouTube.
Maiyegun ti dé.
àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Maiyegun ti dé.
bọ́ bàbá gbé wúrẹ́.
Maiyegun máa wí.
àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Maiyegun ti dé.
ijó ìgbádìyẹ.
Maiyegun máa wí.
àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Maiyegun ti dé.
pẹ̀sìdó bá rúfin o.
Maiyegun máa wí.
àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Maiyegun ti dé.
bí gómìnà kówó jẹ.
Maiyegun máa wí.
àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Maiyegun ti dé.
ọlọ́pàá tí ń darí bá.
Maiyegun máa wí.
àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Maiyegun ti dé.
aṣòfin tí ń rúfin o.
Maiyegun máa wí.
àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Maiyegun ti dé.
òpùrọ́ olóṣèlú.
Maiyegun máa wí.
àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Maiyegun ti dé.
ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Maiyegun ti dé.
àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Maiyegun ti dé.
Maiyegun ti dé. gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Maiyegun ti dé. gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe èyí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dèrò ní fi wọ́n níran o.
Maiyegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Maiyegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dẹ́rọ̀ ò ní fi wọ́n níran.
wọ́n fowó bẹ́ẹ̀ o Maiyegun ó sọ pé wọ́n ò fẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀. wọ́n fowó bẹ́ẹ̀ Maiyegun ó sọ pé wọ́n ò fẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀. oníkan ṣáàtì ṣe èyí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe fáwọn ará ìlú tó gbé wọn débẹ̀ o. ayé
Maiyegun ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Maiyegun ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dẹ́rọ̀ ò ní fi wọ́n níran.
ha kì máa yí ṣe eré ọ̀rọ̀ yìí kì í ṣe ẹ̀fẹ̀. kì máa yí ṣe eré ọ̀rọ̀ yìí kì í ṣe ẹ̀fẹ̀. ẹni bá ti lè lẹ́bọ̀ lẹ́rù o ọmọ bá dèrò kàṣàyè tú wọn síta.
Maiyegun ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Maiyegun ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dẹ́rọ̀ ò ní fi wọ́n níran.
tẹnitẹni ọmọ Maiyegun ọ̀rẹ́ ara ìlú mọ̀mọ́ ni mo
fọlọ́hún ṣọ́ ẹ̀ bá kìlẹ́bù lóòótọ́ olódodo ìlú ọ̀tá ìlú mọ̀mọ́ ni ìwọ ṣá máa ń ṣọ́ra kò sì mọ́ bẹ̀rù bọ́tà ń lè rí bóníṣègùn lé káwọn mọ̀mọ́ fi ṣera wọn ni ó ti dẹrùn tí wọn ò gbọ́dọ̀ sì mọ́ bẹ̀. èèpo ọ̀gọ̀lọ́mọ bá dérò tàjẹ́ ò gbọ́dọ̀ jẹ́ ó ti jọba lórí àbínú ẹni kò sì mọ́ fòyà àìsíwọ́lu ní ẹnìkẹ́ ìgbódì ẹyin lábàrá o ó kó ẹni tó bá dán wò á kàmù Maiyegun ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lúwẹ̀ túnra kì Maiyegun ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lúwẹ̀ túnra kì o ẹni bá ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dèrò òní fi wọ́n níran o.
Maiyegun ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lúwẹ̀ túnra kì Maiyegun ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lúwẹ̀ túnra kì ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dẹ̀rọ̀ òní fi wọ́n níran.